Live and direct. I don't know if we're going to be able to leave that on the whole time, because definitely hearing the echo.
Oh, yeah. We're going to move this out. Okay, well, you're on, Adam.
I'm on. All right. Well, some folks are already in. We're coming at you live. This is the first time we've ever done this. So, yeah, here we are. Got everything set up. I'm going to stall for a little while. We've got about 20 people, and we're right on time. So I'm going to give it probably a good 5 minutes to let people roll in. I do want to say thank you to those who are already tuned in and joining us for this in celebration of Christmas in July. We're here to walk through a bunch of really great cocktails. We hope, really hope that you're going to like them. They're all new for this event, and we kind of like the theme of maybe a little holiday wink and a nudge here and there, but really leaning into summertime and hot and tropical, and just some really great bangers, we hope, but with some really elegant touches that we hope you appreciate. And glad you're here with us. First ever live event that we've done, so we're excited. Excuse me. Shelly, already in the chat, says that she already tried the Jamaican fever dream we'll be making, which I love to hear it. It's kind of, I felt like just a little variation on the hurricane theme, but great cocktail. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Let's go, Rob. Yeah. I will remind people we're up to about 25 as we're getting rolling. I'm letting people enter in. Gonna give it another maybe 3 minutes or so before we kind of officially get started. But really excited to be doing this. Christina jumped in on the chat already. Many of you, I'm sure, already know and love Christina, and she's in the chat as well. She's not here with me, but we're going to be kind of tag teaming communications tonight. So thank you, Christina. And any questions you guys have of myself or of Christina, that's what the chat's all about. So really looking forward to getting a really nice dialogue going with everybody as we get going. What is a quick way to get that toasted coconut syrup mixable? That product is a pain point for us because it's so delicious for us, in our opinion. But we definitely understand the challenges that have come with dealing with that raw coconut fat that's in there. So warm water, I would say leaving it at room temperature if it's not, like, as long as you have central air and you don't live in Texas or something. Like if it's below, say, 75 or 80 degrees or so, you can definitely hold that one at room temperature for a good long while. It won't spoil. I would say you're probably going to get at least 3 to 5 months out of it. But it definitely being at room temperature is going to degrade faster than if you refrigerate it. And then obviously when you refrigerate it, that's when you get the kind of solidification. So it's a problem. Warm water is the best solution that we've been able to find, but it's truly just temperature based, and coconut fat just behaves that way at those temperatures. It is a pain. I think unfortunately the only alternative is to use just a ton of chemicals, which there are some good cream of coconut or coconut syrups out there that do, and that's the trade-off. They're still delicious, but I think you are venturing a little bit further from the natural coconut that we're sort of beholden to. So problematic on that. Long answer, but a great question. Let's see. We saw that Greg at How to Drink, somebody in the comments mentioned that Greg from How to Drink was live today too. We saw that and we tuned in for a little while. Great guy, and apparently we owe him an email. Sorry, Greg. Are we making drinks as we go, asks Sue. Great question. That's up to you. I'm about to get started. We're up to about 40 people, and we're 5 or 10 minutes over now, or some minutes over. So that's up to you. I'm gonna make. I want to make at least 8 drinks through this. I want to, respect everybody's time. So, an hour and a half maybe is what I'm hoping to target, but I'm not going to, force things to close off or anything like that. So we're going to try to pace it for maybe, 10 minutes a drink. I'm going to hopefully get a lot of interaction with everybody on the chat if we're into that. And so I would say drinking across 8 drinks in that period of time is not advisable. But if you want to pick a couple to make along, if you have the ingredients, I very much encourage you, to make these or take note. I mean, obviously these are for reference, but I was really happy with how these recipes turned out. And so hopefully you get to try them at one point or the other. Exactly. So hopefully you choose a couple that make you happy, Sue. So anyway, thank everybody for being here. I am going to get started. We're up over 40 people now. As I mentioned, this is our first ever live stream event. It's in celebration of Christmas in July, which is one of our biggest sales events across the year, which we're excited about. It's going amazing. Our customers are always so engaged at that point. And great time to stock up. So hopefully these recipes kind of prove a little inspiring here and there. But at the very least, we're just hoping to teach you some stuff here and there also, and give you some new recipes to play around with and put in the arsenal. So that being said, we've got 8 drinks across the evening, and I'm gonna make them, give a little insight into how we developed the drinks, why we developed them, and just kind of what we were thinking, the concept of each one, and we'll kind of move through it that way. Christina chimed in on the chat earlier, but I want to remind people, Christina's also joining us. Christina and Alex and Victor, our marketing team, everybody was really integral in this. There's a lot of work that goes into prepping for an event like this and getting the materials like the recipe, PDF, and everything you guys have developed. So kudos to them. Christina has volunteered to be in the chat helping out. So any questions, Christina and I are going to kind of tag team the chat, and she's there. I know a lot of y'all already know and love Christina as well, so she's there for you if you want her. I'm going to get started. I think got this in order of the book. Which means the first cocktail that we're going to do is the Pichota, which is this really nice repo tequila cocktail that we love. I think it's simple. It's hitting a lot of notes that are on trend right now, but not in a way that's like purely trendy. So really looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm going to need a rocks glass for this. I'm going to use fresh lemon and lime juice that I'm going to squeeze, so I'll need obviously my knife and cutting board if you're following along. And I'll need some Yakima Valley peach, some Ango, which I think I have back here. No Ango. No Ango. We need Repo, check. Aperol, check. Fresh lemon, which I'll grab right here. And our Allspice Dram. You'll notice actually a couple of these recipes, which I kind of touched on, when we first opened up, but since then several people have joined us. Several of these recipes actually feature that Allspice Dram, which to us, for me, I was going through and I was like, man, do we really want to call for this over and over again? 2 reasons. One, the theme of the event is kind of a little wink and a nudge of very subtle at times, but kind of holiday-ish flavors, the baking spices or the vanilla or something. And so, very appropriate kind of tie in there because the other theme is tropical, and, Allspice has this beautiful tropical complement. It's popular in Caribbean cuisine, so just mashing with those tropical fruit flavors and everything makes it a valuable tool. So if you have a bottle of Allspice Dram, like us, that a little goes a long way and it lasts forever. So I guess we're trying to get you, able to kind of fly through that bottle of Allspice Dram that's been sitting there. So, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and start making this cocktail. I need a rocks glass. And we had time, so we went ahead and froze our glassware. If that's something that you have time, or if you're regularly making cocktails at home, definitely a nice pro tip. Freeze your glassware. It keeps everything kind of nice and alive for longer. So I'm gonna, let's see, I need my shaker. This is a pretty easy and straightforward shaken cocktail. So I like to work out of the lower half of my shaker. I'm not gonna, tutorialize too much, but like to build the cocktail, add my ice, shake, strain. That's kind of the process I follow there. Also like to start with our sweetest ingredients into the jigger first, and that way each ingredient subsequently that doesn't contain alcohol, or sugar rather, will kind of serve to rinse out the jigger and make sure everything makes its way into the shaker tin and that we don't leave like a sugary residue behind that's also like really nice flavor that we want in our drink. So I usually start with the sugary ingredients first. It's also the case that a lot of times the sugarier ingredients are the cheapest ingredients, relative to booze. So if you do happen to make a mistake along the way, it's a less painful mistake if you're having to dump out or halt when you've poured maybe a high dollar spirit in, make a mistake and then have to scrap it. So easier to scrap something less expensive. So to get started, we'll do 3/4 of an ounce of our Yakima Valley peach syrup. Love this syrup. It's obviously Yakima Valley Washington peach, which I just find has like this really rich but not cloyingly sweet. It's just this really nice balanced, rich peach flavor. I think it does really well in cocktails like this against flavors like Allspice and Repo and Aperol, that kind of punchy flavors that peach really punches through too. On that note, let's go with 1/4 ounce of Aperol. All the rage these days, and for good reason. Aperol is a really fun ingredient and less aggressive, than Campari or some of the other Italian bitters. So it's kind of getting its heyday, which we are all about. 1/4 ounce of Aperol. We'll go ahead and do the bar spoon of Allspice Dram. See, a little goes a long way. Just a bar spoon, but it's a great product and does a really fantastic job in this of like kind of bridging a lot of things and adding obviously kind of a warmth and a depth. Bar spoons are always tricky, just got to be slow and deliberate, but let's see if we can get this right. There we go. It's a hefty bar spoon, but I don't think we got to 1/4 ounce or anything. It's a nice bar spoon of Allspice Dram. Next up, we're gonna go with our fresh lemon. I always, obviously, in all of our content and recipes, we always recommend fresh if you can do it. Makes a huge difference, and it's a low cost investment, and throw a couple in, and as long as you keep up, you can throw fresh lemon in, with a number of things, even if it's not a cocktail. So obviously it's a versatile piece. Like, throw some in, always have them on hand. Your cocktails will thank you. I'm gonna go with 3/4 of an ounce. So let's go 3/4 of an ounce of fresh lemon. When I crush that lemon with the juicer, I just see all this oil just exploding out of the peel. That's like aromatic gold. That's obviously gonna blend in and mix in sort of with this, this process of squeezing the juice out. It's gonna blend in and just give this fresh juice so much more aromatic punch than the stuff, with sulfites and preservatives that has been sitting in a plastic, all the aromatics there are just dead. So 3/4 ounce fresh lemon. And last, our reposado tequila. Love to play around with all kinds of different repos here. You get some that lean in the oakiness, you get some that lean into the cooked agave, you get the vanilla. There's a really beautiful local product here in Central Texas, but really encourage you to, if you already have a favorite repo, go for it. If you want, I would say exploring is great in this one. So we're gonna go with 2 full ounces here of the repo, just to make sure we're not getting out of balance with some of the sugar and other flavors. All right, all ingredients in. Let's shake. Usually like to go on my shaker. Again, most of you are obviously making cocktails at home, so hope I'm not preaching to the choir, but we have a full range of customers and audience, and some of the folks out there are very likely beginners. Some of you are probably more or less advanced bartenders at this point, which we absolutely love the full range. We think this is for everybody, but I don't want to be pedantic in teaching people kind of some of these fundamentals, but we do like to impart that when we can. Again, about 3/4 of the way full there. We don't want to like overstuff it with ice because we do want that freedom of motion. So upper tin over the top of the smaller tin, upside down. We want to shake this for like a good 10 to 12 seconds until it gets really almost too cold to hold. Whew. That is cold. Oh, smells amazing, obviously. We're gonna strain this into our chilled rocks glass there, and then fill with crushed ice the rest of the way. So, beautiful color. It's like a little bit of a sunset color. Crushed ice. You'll also notice a theme with crushed ice. We felt like, you know, kind of that winter vibe there, like snow, I guess. But then, you know, obviously crushed ice crushes in the summer with these hot drinks. So beautiful, beautiful touch if you can do it. I mean, it can be a pain. Some of the new fridges come with like a crushed ice maker, which is cool. Okay, we want a fresh lemon wheel and a fresh peach slice. So we'll go fresh lemon and fresh peach slice. Let's close that. Oh my gosh. A ripe peach is like beautiful. Look at that. So that is the Pichota, and it's very full, so we got to knock some of that down. That is so good. So what I'm getting is reposado tequila. I mean, that's the foundation, which is nice. I mean, I think that peach and tequila are such a nice, like stone fruit and tequila is such a nice combination to begin with. Some vanilla, some kind of round, you know, stone fruitiness. But then that lemon and Aperol and the kind of complexity of it all, certainly the allspice, like all of that starts to come in for me a little bit later. Beautiful drink. Let's check the comments and see what y'all think. Let's see. Why crushed ice? Great question. So for me, I like the texture of crushed ice. In a drink like this, it's completely optional. It's not doing a lot of work. Crushed ice in the tiki world, where you know this is not a tiki drink, but crushed ice in the tiki world, I think is mostly for like a little bit of added dilution. So you know you're going to find it in equilibrium with that ice, but some of it's obviously going to melt faster with the greater surface area. But those drinks are boozy and powerful, and I think that's just, you know, one kind of ingredient to the balance of something big and strong like a tiki cocktail. But some of it is just, you know, I think for some novelty. I mean, it's obviously greater surface area. It's going to ultimately get your drink probably a little bit colder than large format cubes that, like what we have in our like Hoshizaki here, is like little 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch cubes. They're functional. They're great in a shaker. I think sometimes pouring, especially in kind of a tighter serve like this, I think pouring over that, it's not an efficient way to keep your drink very cold. I mean, those big blocks of ice like that. If it's a drink like an old fashioned where you don't want dilution, you want it kind of held at a temperature, a big format ice is very good at maintaining temperature. But if your goal is to kind of, for a crusher like this, if your goal is to get it ice cold and it's kind of a boozy enough drink to take a little bit of dilution as you go, you're gonna get a colder result with crushed ice too. Hope I answered the question. Where to find Allspice Dram? Good question. So this is actually, believe it or not, as sort of obscure as this is sounding or seeming, it's actually a pretty well distributed product. It's imported by a company called House All Pins that has a very beautiful array of kind of unique and unique and hard to find in globally. You know, they go seek globally and bring it to the market. But they actually have really good distribution. So, you know, your Total Wine and More, any big box, if you're in Florida, any big box, you should call ahead. And I would say if you were to call 3 big box stores, you know, there's a decent chance that one of them would have it in your area. It's called St. Elizabeth Allspice Dram is the most common. There are a couple of other brands like Bitter Truth, I think, made one for a while. yeah, I mean, there's a couple of craft makers of some similar stuff. So, you know, call the liquor store. It's actually more common and well distributed than you would think. Let's see. Yeah, Total has it. There you go. Crushable. That is exactly, Rob. Thanks for sharing. That's exactly how I would describe this. This is a crusher for me. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, my plan here is to move through because you know, I can chat and go. So maybe we keep the conversation going while I transition, and I'll move on to the next cocktail. But this one is crushable though. Peach and summertime, there's something there. $53 of you guys. We'd love to see it. I said it earlier, you know, I'll kind of keep sharing that this is the first live event like this that we've done. And so really exciting for us to be here kind of, you know, sharing with you guys. You guys are our inaugural audience, so welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's clean up our station and move to the next. Also really hope you guys thoroughly enjoy the recipe PDF. Our marketing team nailed it, did a great job with it. So we're hoping that you find those recipes to be really cool. Great drink. Thank you, Aaron. And someone there, E. Ray, just picked up Allspice Dram at Total. So yeah, it is, like I say, it's, you know, kind of deceptively more well distributed. I will say, as I said at the beginning of this, it's one of those that you'll buy a bottle and you'll probably have it for a good while unless you're entertaining. You know, it's very useful ingredients. It is a very useful ingredient, like in punches and some holiday drinks like that. But a little does go a long way. So here we think it, you know, it did its job very nicely. All right, what do we have next? Next up, we have the Jamaican Fever Dream. So this is a really fun hurricane kind of style cocktail, which I love. I'm kind of a sucker for that style of drink. Just big passion fruit rum, you know, call it, for lack of a better word, like a cruise style drink. But if you're using like high quality ingredients and you seek balance in your cocktails, that can, there's a reason why they are so popular. That can be a very universally appealing kind of profile, and this was kind of our version of something like that. Just a big old fruit punch, but in the best of ways. So let's grab our ginger and our tropical passion fruit. Great combination, by the way. That kind of Caribbean spice again, or Caribbean combo. Jamaican rum we got, fresh lime. Right here, Peychaud's bitters, which I also think kind of a nice move with that star anise and a little bit more of a licorice kind of profile than you know, what you usually find in a hurricane. But those flavors like in absinthe or Peychaud's bitters, like they really do very well with tropical fruit and rum. So I felt, you know, that switch on to Peychaud's there is really nice in this drink. Let's see. Aaron also says Allspice Dram is an easy DIY. That's a good point. You know, depending on your inclination towards taking stuff like that on, it could be a really fun project. I'm sure that there are resources online, both, you know, blogs that'll lay out a really nice process for that, but probably at this point, maybe even good YouTube videos that can really kind of visually spell it out how to do something like that. But I agree. I think an Allspice Dram or an Allspice infused liqueur could be a pretty fun and somewhat straightforward at-home project. So yeah, good call. Have I ever made a peach tequila liquor? We've used Texas peaches and bourbon. Yeah, if I understand you correctly, you're saying like an infusion, like where you take Texas peaches and put it, you know, steep it into a base spirit. I have not done that. I will say it's funny, you know, for a later drink, we juice some fresh pineapple because you guys are worth the work. But we do have some pineapple here, some rinds and whatnot. And I was kind of thinking I might dump something over that and let that infuse. So not with peaches, Wendy, but But with other things, I'm always trying to kind of see how it might go if I have a pineapple carcass laying around, for lack of a better word. All right, let's get going on the Jamaican Fever Dream. It's another shaken cocktail, so we'll work out of our shaker here. Gonna start with half an ounce of tropical passion fruit. Again, this combo, passion fruit with the big, ripe, juicy, passion fruit, just bartender's ketchup. You can really put this with so much. I mean, unexpected ways, bourbon, scotch, with a little measure of passion fruit does not suck. Anyway, very versatile. This is Peruvian passion fruit. We tried passion fruit from lots of different places, as you can imagine. Love it. And then ginger with that kind of earthy, long burn spice to it. That's what we have next at a 1/4 ounce. But just kind of using, almost the concept of like what you would find in a craft bar, again, doing like an in-house syrup where they may feature like a blend of passion and ginger as maybe a house-made blend or a house-made syrup. I think it's really a fun way to think of our syrups as tools for that. If you've got several on hand, maybe think outside of the box about ways of potentially combining them to make kind of like your own in-house syrups. Maybe there's a balance of two that you strike that is not, that is fairly unique to you. Just saying, it's a fun way to do it. So we've got half an ounce of passion, 1/4 ounce of ginger. Next up, we're gonna use 3/4 of an ounce of fresh lime, which, let's get that, all the ginger. Which fresh lime, just like with lemon, I mean, there's nothing better than like squeezing into a fresh lime and seeing and smelling like the explosion of aromatics. Lime's got obviously that kind of, quintessential like kind of zesty pepperiness that goes so well with rum and tropical fruit. 3/4 of an ounce. Fresh is always better. There we go. 3/4 of an ounce fresh lime. Next up, another bar spoon of Allspice Dram. So all of you folks out there buying your Allspice Dram and maybe even making it at home, I told you we had you covered tonight. We're going to use the heck out of some Allspice Dram. But again, I mean, you can imagine with, again, passion fruit and how well that dance happens with like the baking spice and the tropical fruit, and then ginger there to really be kind of this counterpart in that kind of spice aromatic zone. It's really a nice addition. So a bar spoon. Let's see if I can do it more accurately this time. There we go. Little bar spoon of Allspice Dram with a steady hand. We're gonna do 2 ounces of Jamaican rum. So just like with the, reposado tequila, obviously we would always encourage exploration, and Jamaican rum in general, as I'm sure many of you know, such a big and diverse and explorable category. Rum is relatively affordable on average relative to other spirits. It's a kind of shifted down in price across the spectrum, generally speaking. That said, it's also like highly collectible. I mean, there's certainly, you can spend some money on rum, but you can find some really good expressions or kind of styles of rum that won't break the bank. And so I definitely encourage you to explore. Jamaican has a really distinctive character, lots of volatile compounds floating around that make it kind of aromatically and olfactory, big and funky. And so this is a Jamaican rum, but this is one that actually is not readily available in the States. It's just a silver rum. It's not like a high-end rum. It's just available in Jamaica mostly and doesn't find its way over here. So I figured, why not? But this won't be something available to you. I think also in keeping with the kind of hurricane style, using a little bit, something with a little bit of age, or even a blend, or something like Appleton Estate, or something that's readily available, definitely would be a kind of a more natural way to go because you're going to get a little bit richer flavor. This being a light rum, you're going to get a lighter, you're going to get a lighter profile out of it. But I thought it could be fun in this one, so let's see. Ray says, really happy that the lemon lavender cordial is back and a core flavor. Thank you. Yeah, it was a seasonal that we had put out, and we just got a lot of demand for it over and over and over again. So we did decide, as you touched on, to bring it back into the core. And yeah, it should be on Amazon soon. Amazon, with all of our packaging change, and as some of you have followed more or less closely, we've gone over a lot of changes in the last couple of years as a company. We've moved facilities, we've expanded our entire bottling line, we've grown our team, and we've changed our packaging, as I'm sure most of you now are aware. But we've migrated the packaging into a new format. All of that kind of represented, as you can imagine, a great disruption across a lot of fronts, including Amazon. So getting Amazon back up to speed and making sure all of our SKUs are on there and available is an ongoing process. But yes, it should be available on Amazon soon and with stability. So glad you like it. Why a clear rum versus dark in this drink? Great question. Kind of touched on it earlier, but just I had this one laying in there, frankly, and it's a unique rum that's not readily available. Again, it's not really collectible, but I just think it's an example of trying it out. I think being too compartmentalized in how you approach these drinks, I think is just kind of a needless limitation. So it kind of just struck me. But I do think an aged rum is certainly the more natural play here, and definitely one I would encourage you to take on if you were selecting a rum of your own and you were inclined in that direction. Definitely the more sort of natural move here. I was just frankly a little curious, to see how a softer, kind of lighter profile might behave in this kind of big hurricane style cocktail. And we'll see. This is the first time, making it for this class. Aside from when we tested the recipe and we liked it, and so it's just kind of one of those choices that come with making cocktails. Rob, absolutely love the pour spouts in the new bottles. Thank you. We do too. It's a sticky mess around here when syrup spills all over the place, and you're back here at the bar and using things on a regular basis, and the threads get all gunky. So we're hopeful and spend a lot of time, making sure that we're trying to address that issue, and hopeful that we have done a good job, and that we're hopefully avoiding messes in y'all's households more now that we've used this new packaging. So that's about it. I'm going to hold off on the Peychauds because I'm going to garnish with them at the end, you'll see. So I have all of our ingredients in here. It smells so good and like big and bright. So same goes. We're going to, this one we're going to conventionally shake. So I will grab my scooper that has now decided to disappear. Did I leave it in the crushed? Yeah, always leave it in the crushed. So we'll go ahead and add about 2/3 or so, 3/4 full of ice, and give this thing a shake. Same goes, a good solid 10 to 12 second shake. Oh, I appreciate it. Yeah. Victor's behind the scenes helping me out here. I'm gonna grab my hurricane glass, and in this one we're gonna spare our ice. We're gonna just pour directly in to our hurricane glass everything we got. And go ahead and top that with more crushed ice. So we kind of go for this snow cone effect. Make a little mess, but that's okay. And here's where I'm going to apply my Peychauds. And this gives you a chance. You can still sip off the edge of these, but we're also, you'd serve this with a straw. So you have options, and also has obviously a beautiful visual. If you were serving this for yourself or guests, but you just, can't help but marvel at the beautiful color. So let's do a lime wheel. Lime wheel. And fresh mint. Garnish, so important. Aromatically, visually, we drink with our eyes and nose about as much as we drink with our tongue and mouth, and so garnish is underrated part of cocktail making. We're gonna give this kind of a smack to wake up some of those aromatics, and there you have it. The Jamaican Fever Dream. Really, really beautiful. Yeah, it's just, the quintessential kind of style of like an elevated island drink. It's not too juicy, because we're not dumping a bunch of pineapple juice or orange juice into it. It's got real balance, really nice, strong, high quality flavors that come through clearly. Ginger, passion, the allspice is there at the end for like a really nice subtle spice. This is a beautiful, beautiful drink. Hope you like it. All right. Somebody earlier had made one of these, and I hope she liked it. Let's see. What are people saying? Sue Ann just finished the Jamaican Fever Dream. Dad says garnish is not optional. Dad knows what he's talking about. Tell Dad, keep fighting the good fight. All right. Cool. All right. No, I don't think there are any extra questions out there, so we're gonna move on to the next drink, which is the Daiquiri number 2. All right. We'll bring this over here, and I'll kind of clean up my station. Daiquiri number 2. This is a very nice variation that's kind of seeing, at least from what I can tell, a little bit of a bump right now. It feels like the Daiquiri number 2 is a little bit on trend, and people are catching on. But it's a cool variation on the classic, and wanted to give it its due. This one was created actually, as we point out in the little recipe guide. This was created at the Havana, Cuba bar, El Floridita or La Floridita, which Hemingway himself loved to drink at, as most people know. Thank you, Victor. So classic daiquiri, right? Rum, sugar, and lime. What this does is add a little bit of a juicier flavor, which a lot of daiquiri purists may balk at, which I understand, to each their own, but I think a lot of people do appreciate that it sort of smooths it out, makes it a little bit less sharp depending on your mix there, and that orange really has a nice aromatic quality to it. So if you can strike the right balance with this drink, I think it's a successful cocktail, and definitely one that is enjoyable, especially here in Central Texas when it gets super hot. These are the kinds of drinks that you can really start to appreciate. So I got a blended white rum. I'm going to grab our classic gum syrup, which for those familiar or unfamiliar, gum syrup in drinks like this, where you've got kind of a really bracing, high acidity profile, like here we're using 2 citrus juices. We're going to use an orange juice as well as a lime juice, obviously, for the daiquiri. That gum arabic that's in the gum syrup like really does a hero job. I mean, it smooths things out, it makes everything richer, and it just tames the acid without harming the aromatic profile. It just, it's kind of just a magic, kind of a magic ingredient. So if you take your simple syrups seriously, for those of you who do, couldn't recommend gum syrup, both are, like a Demerara or a classic like this. These are essentially just elevated simple syrups, but you're going to get that textural enhancement that you really can't get with basic simple syrup. So definitely kind of a luxury play, but if you can justify it, it makes a really nice difference. So we've got lime. Do call for dry curacao. Unfortunately, I didn't have any, and our closest liquor store also didn't have any in stock. So what I'm using is Grand Marnier. This is not my preference, frankly. I would rather use like a Pierre Ferrand or something, but that's a little bit drier. But this is a pretty close conceptual match. I mean, it's both of them would be like a brandy or cognac base with that orange infusion essentially, or maceration. It's just that I find Grand Marnier to be a touch sweeter, so I may go a little lighter on that measure. But I've got all my ingredients here, and then I got a fresh orange here for my measure of orange juice. So let's shake up this daiquiri number 2, starting with our classic gum syrup, half an ounce. Yeah, the daiquiri, as I said, one of the drinks I would urge you to try the gum syrup in as a kind of a means of showing what it does, and because it's such a simple stripped down 3-ingredient deal, the texture really makes a huge difference. So next up, I am going to use the orange curacao if you've got it. Also a triple sec would work if you've got it. But again, this is a classic cocktail. It does call for that brandy base curacao. I'm going to go with the half ounce that they call for, but I'm going to kind of call it a scant half ounce. Maybe undershoot the line just a little bit, because as I said, it does have that slightly higher sugar content. And I do want to protect that daiquiri kind of bracing, a little erring on the side of tart or sour rather than sweet and kind of soft. I do want a little bit of an edge if I can maintain it. So I've got our sweet ingredients in. Next up, I'm gonna juice some fresh lime. So usually a daiquiri would call for, all acid would be, or all citrus would be in the form of lime. Here again, it's kind of splitting it between orange and lime. So I'm only gonna go with half an ounce of lime here. Again, and especially in a daiquiri, don't make a classic daiquiri with like bottled lime juice. I'm glad you're making one if you do it that way. I'm glad you're making a daiquiri at home and taking it, but treat yourself to fresh juice if you're doing it. Okay, half an ounce of fresh lime juice, and then next up I'm going to do half an ounce of fresh orange juice. Obviously easier to get fresh orange juice. I mean, Simply or something like that would work just fine here. I figured, you guys were worth it. I was gonna squeeze some fresh juices today. But here we go, half an ounce of fresh orange juice. Orange juice can be a little divisive in cocktails, I think, because of kind of what I said earlier. It softens things out, and I think people feel it kind of hides some things. It's filler. It doesn't punch very hard. It's kind of a softer citrus. But I think when used thoughtfully, I think that orange juice can serve a decent purpose. And here I just think it kind of boosts the floral aroma and aromatics of the cocktail. So there you go, half an ounce of fresh orange. And then lastly, our rum. Call for a white rum. That's really what the classic ingredient would be. This is a really cool blend available here in Texas. It's actually distributed by our distributor, so that's how I discovered it. But it's a British blend. It's a British bottled blend and imported from England. But it's a blend of Trinidadian, Barbadian, and Jamaican rums. And the only one I think with any age on it is the Barbadian rum, and it's like 3 years. So it's a light rum, but it's a blend of some really cool Caribbean styles that I personally really appreciate. So I think this is a really functional kind of blended white rum. It's called Royal Standard. I really know nothing else of the company. It's a shameless plug. Just telling you about it because I like it. I think it does well in something like this. So I'm going to go with 2 ounces, again, just to make sure that that orange juice doesn't come across too juicy, you know. There we have it. We are ready to shake. So, as always, I probably left it in the crush, didn't I? Of course, I left it in the crushed. As always, 2/3, 3/4, something like that, to the top. And give this a good shake. Here we go. Whew. It's cold. Here we're going to go with a chilled coupe. You know, as I said, I have the space here at the office to chill all these glasses, and it's a nice touch. But I do recommend, if you can justify it, chilling your glassware, especially in a drink like this where you have a stem, like a coupe or a cocktail glass or some shape like this. You can actually preserve that lifespan of the drink and make it more enjoyable for like minutes, which I know sounds silly, but you know, 5 minutes of cold drink enhances the moment a little bit. So if you can, you know, chilling your glassware does make a difference. For this one, Hawthorne strainer, and I'm gonna double strain it just to you know, get it as kind of purely filtered down as we can, and go from there. Beautiful. And as for garnish, could have grabbed this earlier, but I'm going to peel off carefully fresh orange peel. And I know you guys have surely seen this move, but got to tell you, it makes such a huge difference. I'm sure you've seen pros do it. If you've watched any of our videos, we do it often with citrus or citrus forward drinks, but expressing these fresh oils just explodes the aromatic profile. I mean, it really is a kind of a really special kind of technique for the experience. So I'll just hold it over, fold it with the skin part facing towards my cocktail, and as I fold it out, it's just going to push those oils right across the surface of the drink. And it just, again, you'll see people kind of wipe the top, and you just really want those oils to be present for the life of the drink. And there you have the Daiquiri number 2. Yeah, I mean, it just smells like orange, rum, lime. Yeah, it's delicious, you know. A perfectly crafted daiquiri with a perfect rum and fresh lime that's in season, and classic gum syrup or Demerara gum syrup. Maybe still able to achieve higher heights, but this is a really, really good and kind of can't go wrong daiquiri variation that I think, again, it's a classic in its own right, and I think it's getting a moment right now, and I think it deserves it. Definitely encourage you to try it. Again, not to belabor, but that classic gum syrup in a daiquiri style drink, it just makes everything so much richer. So let me see what I missed here. Shelly loved the Fever Dream. Thank you for that. More cocktails with raspberry gum and orgeat and others, or some cocktails that's from MMP. Yeah, you know, we had eight to do on this one, and unfortunately didn't program around those. There is an orgeat cocktail coming up, but I love the raspberry. I know it's probably even published somewhere in our content that's actually my favorite of our syrups. I agree with you. We do need to do more of it. I think raspberries, it's almost, I don't know what the deal is with it's on me. I just need to, but it's almost like it's so versatile. that you know, picking a direction or kind of getting going on recipe development. But that's a poor excuse, I know. I agree with you. Our raspberry is amazing. Let's see. Yep, Liber points only available on the website. That's true. Amazon, unfortunately, you know, we can't do that. Let's see. Let's see, is it 1-to-1 replacement of simple syrup to our gum syrup in recipes? No. Our gum syrup is closer to 2-to-1, and I would say if you are making simple syrup at home, definitely an economical way to do it, very effective. So I'm not, you know, I wouldn't, only if you think that you would enjoy and can justify the kind of richness added by the gum syrup. But 2-to-1, 2 parts sugar, 1 part water. You're going to achieve the same level of sweetness, obviously, without adding extra water to your drink, and that just, to me, makes for kind of a stronger, more pure flavor. So 2-to-1 rather than 1-to-1. Hope that answered the next one as well. You know, the 2-to-1 versus 1-to-1, and that's just, it's just adding extra water. You know, you've seen a shift in like the highest level craft bars. Move toward 2-to-1, and then even you know, a lot of the popular bartender influencers, like I believe it's like Anders Ericsson, really knows his stuff, super pro. He advocates for like a 1.5-to-1, kind of a hybrid there. So you know, play around with it. But I would say that 1-to-1, in order to achieve the balanced sweetness that I think most cocktails should have, you are bringing water into the mix, literally at the same, you know, at a higher level than I think you need to. So that's really the reasoning there. Let's see, like the Rio Red, but not the Shrub. Are they intended to be interchangeable? Great question. The Shrub is definitely nichier, features vinegar. Shrubs are a vinegar, fruit and sugar based syrup, kind of an old world style of mixer or syrup. The cordial is really just a punched up grapefruit syrup, so not interchangeable. Both feature the grapefruit, the Texas grapefruit, I think, in a nice way, but the grapefruit cordial, definitely a more straightforward expression of grapefruit. So if you're looking for a grapefruit syrup, the grapefruit cordial is definitely your answer. And if you're unfamiliar with shrubs, you should explore. And I think you'll find that our Texas grapefruit shrub is a very good shrub, a very versatile shrub. Definitely a nichier ingredient, though, than the cordial. So I hope that, again, answers the question. And then let's see. Upset that E-Ray says that we developed a tequila drink that she likes. I'm glad you like it. We just had like a change my mind challenge. I don't know if you're familiar with our change my mind challenge from our TikTok channel, but it sounds like we maybe changed your mind on tequila. Tom, thank you. That's love your journey to our syrups. That's how we hope it works, you know, and hope that you experience the benefits of the gum syrup. Fever Dream, Aaron's loving the balance. Thank you. I love it too. I kind of am a sucker for that profile. We were getting our dedicated fridge at Shelly's house. Our passion fruit, for example, I put on vanilla ice cream all the time. Like, we hope you find loads of uses for our syrups outside of cocktails. And if you're getting your own Liber fridge, hope you're a fan of, you know, ice cream and fruit salads and all kinds of other. I'm with you, Aaron. You know, it is a little different, but it is. And then Bridget, thank you. I'm moving slow, guys, but I really enjoy. I love hearing from you all. Like, it's exciting for us. So moving on, the next one, the Sacred and Profane. This is a cocktail that I came up with on the basis of this kind of. There's a drink out there called the Pina Verde, and it uses green chartreuse in this kind of decadent, in-your-face way. It's an 1.5 ounce measure. So it uses green chartreuse as like the base spirit of the cocktail, which, if you're familiar at all with green chartreuse, this is intense stuff, and it's expensive too. It's very expensive. There was a while where it was extremely hard to find and basically unavailable. I think that its availability has returned, but we sort of stocked up because I'm not even clear how available it is right now, but definitely a legacy product, but definitely intense. So anyway, this Pinot Verde uses like 1.5 ounces of the Green Chartreuse. So just a crazy decadent measure, both in terms of flavor and cost. And then pairs it with citrus and coconut, you know, excuse me. So, and pineapple, I believe too. But just again, that herbal, that herbaceousness that Green Chartreuse provides, it's got like 130 ingredients. It's just that, again, that quintessential legacy monk liqueur. It's medicinal early on. It's been made by Carthusian monks for like 100 and some odd 50 years, and it's just a really unique product. And I was intrigued. You know, I'm like, yeah, that herbaceousness with that tropical profile. And so that was really the kind of inspiration here. Is just, can I just do something that I could again share with an audience of cocktail fans that's not, it's not going to be overly complicated to make, but it's going to bring that same like kind of level of exoticism, but kind of decadence. You know, this is sort of a coconut, toasted coconut, fresh citrus, and rum, and that dash of chartreuse just makes it very decadent in my opinion. I was intrigued by that combo. So 4 ingredients here. We've got Clément Blanc. If you're not familiar, this is a gorgeous Martinique Agricole rum, and just has this really kind of soft grassiness to it. We've got our chartreuse, which again, 130 different like herbs and spices and whatnot. Not spicy, but definitely leans into that kind of green herbaceousness. And then our toasted coconut, which somebody asked about earlier, like how to keep this from going solid. Purely temperature based. I pulled mine out before we got started. It's perfectly pourable now, so I know it's good to use. But yeah, that one, you know, when it's refrigerated, you do have to kind of warm it up one way or the other. Often a water bath, like a warm water, running warm water over it will help. But yeah, definitely not immune to solidifying when it gets a little chilly. So, and then we've got our fresh lime. So I'm gonna cut my garnish ahead of time this time. Little lime wheel. And we've got all 4 ingredients that we need. So let's build this sacred and profane. Let's see, what do we have here? So it sounds like chartreuse still hard to find, and then. Absolutely. We lean in, you know, trying to lean in as much as we can with a limited bandwidth, but somebody mentioned the mocktail thing and kind of converting these recipes into non-alcoholic options, you know, all for it. You know, here we're like all about the sort of democracy of the craft beverage, and just whether you're partaking in alcohol or whether, you know, you're not, you know, it's for us, it's about the process and the craft and exploring flavors. And definitely agree that, you know, converting some of these into non-alcs, very good way to enjoy as well. Yep, Chartreuse Daisy, great drink. Let's see, Plantaray Original Dark or Appleton for the Jamaican Fever Dream. A split base would be nice. Those are both, you know, those would complement each other nice. But if I had to pick one, I would say definitely the Appleton, because that is a Jamaican rum, and that cocktail was designed around that kind of Jamaican, kind of characteristic Jamaican profile. So, but I'll stop yammering for a bit, and we'll make this sacred and profane. 3/4 ounce to start of the toasted coconut syrup, which again, absolutely delicious, despite its misbehaviors in the refrigerator. It's a really tasty syrup. Toasting the coconut brings out this really rich kind of nuttiness that's subtle, but adds depth, and I think does really well, especially in, you know, in a cocktail like this that's kind of punchy. Just 1/4 ounce, so not much of the Green Chartreuse. Again, it's expensive. It's powerful, but we do think that it does really well in this cocktail. So break out the Green Chartreuse, 1/4 ounce. If you're a fan, and you already know you're a fan, know that when we were developing this drink, we were trying to decide between 1/4 ounce pour and a 1/2 ounce pour, and we decided quarter ounce, but it was not a big, strong, confident decision. It was like, I think if you like chartreuse, I think you could absolutely enjoy bumping that chartreuse up to half an ounce. So so if you do, you let us know. Next up, we're gonna do our lime juice at 3/4 of an ounce, so equal parts of the toasted coconut and the lime. As you can imagine, nice combination and nice balance. There we go. Fresh lime. If you haven't already, probably could invest in one of these. These are much more efficient than the alternative, and they generally last you a really good long time. So last up is our Clément, and we're going to use a full 2 ounces here because why not? And we really like again, that kind of grassy, soft. I mean, it's not as Agricoles and sort of the more exotic, if you will, rums. Again, rum can just be so all over the place, but that Agricole style can feature a lot of just unique and novel flavors, as this one does, but I think it's just so beautifully balanced and approachable. I mean, I could sip on this and not feel like it was just overwhelming. It's a really nice rum and does great with this green chartreuse. So this one we're gonna do a whip shake. So this technique is incorporating just a little bit of crushed ice. We want it to break down and melt a little bit. That's why we're featuring just a little bit in there. And we kind of want it to end up a little bit of a slushy. So instead of shaking with a full thing of crushed ice where it stays kind of solid like a packed ice thing, or with conventional ice, we're gonna use a little bit of the crushed ice, shake, and eventually you'll kind of hear it's like a little, almost like a spray paint, mixer in there. You still feel a little bit of ice in there, but a lot of it has just kind of dissolved into the drink, and you kind of have this kind of slushy effect. And it's really a nice way to again, a nice shake or ice technique. So about a scoop or a light scoop of crushed ice, and we will shake this for. You also want to shorten the shake a little bit on a whip, so we'll probably shake this for 7 seconds. But you don't want to make it so that everything melts. You just want to kind of reach that equilibrium quick. And because of the greater surface area, you're going to reach your cold temperature faster. So no need for a long shake here. About 7 seconds, like 5 to 7 seconds. There we go. We'll get our chilled rocks glass. Whoop. Chilled rocks glass, and the beauty about whip shaking like that is, again, you can just kind of pour all the contents directly in, and then we will top with additional crushed ice. This one really does it for me personally. I'm a big fan of this one. We've got our lime wheel. It's light, it's rich, it's kind of elegant. I mean, it just has a lot of cool things going on that appeal to me, especially, again, when it's summertime here in Texas. Kind of get away from the overly juicy or the margarita profile, which, look, I love the margarita as much as anyone. But it's just sometimes nice to explore a little bit, and this is a good cocktail for that. It's a unique rum. Of all the ones that we would call for categorically, this is the one where I would say, if you can, or if you already have it, the Clément does exceptionally well. Other rums would do well here, but the drink, I think, really is at its best with this combination of these 4 ingredients. But just really is a fun profile. So the Sacred and Profane. Yeah, that's, for me, that's like, checks a whole lot of boxes. Just, you're getting the kind of the creamy, nutty coconut there. It's kind of through the middle to kind of just keep everything together. The rum, it's kind of sitting on top in a really nice way. And then you get that kind of herbaceous with the lime and the green chartreuse, both kind of having that, obviously they're green in color, but, I kind of feel there's like a green flavor, like a little bit vegetal, a little bit, herbaceous and earthy, just a really nice balance of flavors. Just, I love that drink. And then the fresh mint bouquet when you go in, like we talked about earlier, garnish. Somebody's dad had it right on. Never skimp on the garnish, or never skip the garnish. Garnish is not optional. This is a great example of that. So hope you guys like this one as well. Shelly loving the Sacred and Profane as well. I'm glad you like it. I think it, again, hits a lot of the it's accessible and kind of crushable, but it's also elegant, maybe a little sophisticated. Big fan of that one. So thank you, Victor. All right, next up. Next up we have the Mai Tai Suggest. This is, as you can probably tell, a Mai Tai riff. So you'll see some familiar ingredients if you already know and love the Mai Tai. We're going to use fresh lime. We're going to use a Jamaican rum here, and we're going to use our Almond Orgeat, which just tiki or tropical gold. It just really creamy, rich almond flavor, has that toasted kind of almond nuttiness to it. This is a really great product for those that aren't already familiar. For those that are, this is a great use for it. I think this kind of expands on the Mai Tai in a cool way. So we're gonna split the base between Jamaican rum and mezcal. We're gonna, instead of using an orange curacao or a triple sec or an orange liqueur for our liqueur modifier, we're going to use Licor 43, which is a beautiful Spanish liqueur that is kind of all the rage right now in the Carajillo cocktail, and is getting a lot of play in a lot of other cocktails. It's a really great modifier, features kind of a vanilla spice, kind of light vanilla spice profile. Really fun in a drink like this. So let's make the Mai Tai Suggest. Somebody likes it. Jeffrey, a fan. Rob loves Green Chartreuse, and glad you like the cocktail. If you cannot find Green Chartreuse, don't not make the cocktail. There are substitutes. Great point. Who was that? Rob. Yep, Rob pointing out that, and especially there, if it's still hard to find, that makes sense. But there's definitely been a shortage. There was a well-publicized shortage not too long ago where you kind of saw a flood of substitutions coming in, and then also people pointing out, hey, this product exists. So Genepi des Alpes. Thank you, Victor. Awesome. This is a more affordable. Actually brought in, I believe, by For those who were with us earlier, I used in a couple of drinks at least the St. Elizabeth Allspice Dram, and I mentioned the importer as House All Pens. It's an importer group that just features a bunch of really cool craft spirits and liqueurs and things. They bring this in as well. This is a similar like herbal liqueur from the Alps of France. So similar region to Chartreuse, and definitely a similar style. It's called Genepi des Alpes, or des Alpes, Genepi, and definitely a well-known kind of Chartreuse herbal. Thank you, Victor. Kind of an herbal Chartreuse substitution. A little bit milder than Chartreuse, probably not quite as assertive. Definitely to the gentleman's point, a very, very functional substitute in a drink like this. Moving on, Mai Tai Suggest. Same formula. We're going to start with our sugar or syrupy ingredients, and in this case, we're going to do 3/4 of an ounce of our Orgeat. Necessary in a Mai Tai. It really, really is. So 3/4 of an ounce. Next up, I'll go with our Licor 43 at 1/2 an ounce. So those are our sweet ingredients. Again, this is kind of got like a vanilla spice, like light, kind of vanilla spice profile, and does really well. It's actually quite versatile. I mentioned earlier the Carajillo with coffee. I mean, it kind of matches that. I wouldn't say it's coffee-like, but it kind of has a honeyed kind character to it that's going to kind of match the strength and complexity of some other ingredients very well. Plays a very nice complementary role. Let's go with an ounce of fresh lime. Let's see. In the meantime, anybody saying things? Awesome. The name of the one using Licor 43, this is the Mai Tai Suggest. Yeah. And then, yep, the Bruto is also great. Is also great. They have, I think, now kind of a, whoop, hello. They have like a range of products, I believe, now, and their whole line I've found to be pretty high quality. I think they have kind of a Campari style product, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. I'm gonna have to crack open another lime. Look at that. Sometimes it doesn't work out for you, Victor. Again, shout out to our marketing team. Victor is here still helping me here, after hours. Christina, there he is, everybody. Woo, Victor. Christina hanging out in the chat with us. And then Alex, our head of marketing, obviously involved as well in a major way. Just pulling something like this off. Feels simple, seems simple. Lot of lifting that goes into making something like this happen. And we hope that you guys enjoy, and and hopefully this is the first of many. This was something we've kicked around for a long time, and just wanted to make it happen. So here we are, Christmas in July. Hopefully you guys, if you haven't already stocked up, hopefully this is a good chance for you. Last step, I'm just going to use our split base. So I'm using 1 ounce of mezcal and 1 ounce of Jamaican rum. So I'm bringing a lot of complexity on the base spirits here. This is a Joven mezcal, so it's not going to be quite as like rich and kind of unctuous as different agaves or with more age. But nonetheless, mezcal, if you're not already familiar, mezcal does bring a lot of character. This one's got light smoke, but present. Little earthiness, that cooked agave. You're going to get kind of a roasty vanilla floral thing, but you got to look for all these things because it really, again, brings a lot of complexity. And I've touched on it, but Jamaican rum, really a lot of those Caribbean rums have such distinctive styles, and Jamaican's no different. It's got a lot of volatile compounds floating around on the nose. You get vanilla, you get some tropical fruit, just a really cool mix here. And that almond, orgeat, lime, and Licor 43, hopefully you're going to play a nice kind of dance partner to all of this. So there we have it. This is going to be a shaking cocktail, just like the others. It smells amazing. And conventional shaking, so about 2/3, 3/4 of the way full. And give this a good hard shake. This is a Mai Tai, so we really want to make it cold, make it a little bit dilute, make it really well mixed and aerated. This is one of those just classic, shake the hell out of it, a good 10 to 12 seconds. There we have it. Let's go get our chilled rocks glass. There we go. And this is another one where it's, kind of easy. We just get to dump everything in. There we have it. We're like right at the top. Really no need to add crushed ice, but I'll throw a little bit on there. And then same goes, fresh lime and mint garnish. You're going to see a theme, but it's really kind of hard to beat the combo. It's featured, some of this is featured in the recipe. Let's put our crushed ice in. There we go. And our fresh mint. Yeah, I mean, lime, mint, again, aromatics, so important, especially when you have such a big boozy drink. I think some people think of these tropical drinks sometimes, and you know, again, the tropical resorts or the cruise, like, I know where the bad reputation can come from. I've been fortunate enough to go on a cruise, or you know, maybe visit one of like a tropical hotel or something like that, and you know, I know where the reputation comes from. Those places are known for kind of offering low cost but low booze, low quality options, filled with all kinds of juice and whatnot. So I think you know, when people hear Mai Tai, or they hear of any kind of, you know, tropical profile like this, they assume one thing, when very often I think it's in fact the opposite is true, that sometimes these are like kind of the strongest, boldest, most potent drinks. And so having that bouquet at the top when you're going in and just completing and kind of rounding out the experience and matching the boldness of the drink with a nice garnish, it's a really good touch. So there we have a very full Mai Tai Suggest. Oh yeah. So first thing, you know, the smoke from the mezcal. I mean, it is a nice take on the Mai Tai because it does steer you almost instantly away from the Mai Tai, but then it kind of comes back. So if you're a fan of the Mai Tai and you happen to like mezcal or have played around with mezcal, it's a really fun little flavor journey, because it pushes you out into this kind of bright mezcal cocktail, and does well, and then it kind of teases you back and says, wait a second, there's a lot of Mai Tai going on here. So really like that drink, and recommend it if you're a Mai Tai fan looking to maybe expand your horizons a little bit. Let's see, move on to the next one, but what do we have here? Oh man, we got a lot going on. Okay, yeah. Somebody we have an Italian guest in the comments that is describing, I guess, a category of liqueurs to which Chartreuse and others in the Alps region belong, and that's a category of liqueurs made with just, again, that kind of style of a bunch of herbs and maybe botanicals. So very cool. There's one, I guess, called Licor Milerbi. Pardon the pronunciation or mispronunciation, as the case may be, but it means 1,000 herbs liqueur, and it's a style of it's like that Alps, again, herbal kind of style. So very cool info there. Thank you. Oh yeah, the island and palm tree. Yep, great classic garnish. Ryan doing the inverted lime husk and mint to do sort of an island scene. Very classic tiki garnish with the little pool float. Thanks, Rob. Let's see. Bitter Mai Tai. Yeah, I believe I have tried that. I would have to refresh my memory, but Mai Tai riffing is popular around here. We do make a good Orgeat, and so you can imagine we've had like lots of Orgeat themed cocktails. Next up, this one's a super simple riff on a Greyhound. Greyhound is grapefruit. Really, it's just grapefruit and gin. Here we're gonna adapt it a little bit, just around our grapefruit cordial, which obviously is bringing more sugar, but again, we feel like more balance, therefore, to the mix. So simple drink, 4 ingredients. We're gonna use our Rio Red grapefruit cordial. Rio Red grapefruits, some of you may be from Texas, otherwise you may be familiar at least, but we really love our grapefruits here. The Rio Red grapefruits are exceptionally balanced. They're not like overly bitter or sort of, we love a white grapefruit, very popular in tiki drinks, but for kind of steady drinking and versatility, we love our Rio Reds. This is our Rio Red grapefruit cordial. So this Saluki is gonna be Rio Red grapefruit cordial, 1 ounce.
Adam, want to remind them about the Ask Me Anything on Reddit? You might do it again.
Somebody chimed in about that?
That was Robert on the phone.
Oh, okay. The Ask Me Anything, just to speak to it a little bit. Okay, yeah. we got a caller in from, it was Robert, my brother Robert, some of you may know, wants me to mention that we did do an Ask Me Anything on Reddit. Any of you that were involved or tuned in, thank you so much. That was a really cool event for us. Had massive turnout on r/ the subreddit, our cocktails. Would love to do it again if if the opportunity arises where we can present some new information or have another one. Just love dialoguing with our audience or people that are into what we're doing. We thank you. But yeah, Reddit, Ask Me Anything. Be on the lookout if you're interested. Next up, we're gonna do vanilla liqueur. This is Giffard. This is a French company. Make a killer line of liqueurs. Not always readily available in the States, but if they are, they just represent like great value, great quality. So Giffard vanilla liqueur. If there's other vanilla liqueurs out there, I'm sure that there are. Definitely would work because we're just wanting to really kind of enhance and again kind of throw in that little floral spice that we think does very, very well with grapefruit and obviously gin too in kind of dressing up or sprucing up a classic Greyhound profile. We're also going to cut through this a little bit with some acidity, so I'm going to add ½ ounce of fresh lime. Let's see. The Saluki, if you're curious, we were sitting there trying to figure out a good name for these cocktails. It's like trying to come up with a like a song name or something. It's like deceptively a tricky part of the job. You know what I mean? So we were sitting there like, what can we name this thing? Turns out a Saluki is a dog that's kind of in the same general family as a Greyhound, but it's if you look up a Saluki, it's kind of like a fancy, looks like a very fancy dog. It kind of, the way it moves its feet, and it's a gorgeous dog. But we said, oh, it's kind of like a fancy Greyhound, and so we thought that's why we like this as the Saluki. It's a little bit like fancy, like the dog looks fancy. Okay, 2 ounces of gin to round this out. So for this one, we're using Still Austin, which is a local brand, good quality juice. They have just a very clean, kind of straightforward profile. But any gin you prefer here is going to work. This is a kind of a gin-forward, bright drink. So it really is another one where we're not going to make a strong recommendation on the base spirit for you because we think it's up to you. This cocktail is meant to kind of just prop up a good gin, and whatever that means to you, I think is going to work very well. So there we have everything in here. We're gonna shake this one and dump again directly into the glass. And if we need to, top with more crushed ice. Again, you see the theme here with the crushed ice, but Christmas in July, crushed ice, just made so much sense to us. So here we go. Let's shake up this Saluki, and we want to give this one a good healthy shake. So about 10 seconds. Yowza, that's cold. All right, let's get us a chilled coupe, or rather highball. We want that in a highball. Crash bang. There we go. Actually, yeah, we did pour full contents. I was gonna say I think I might audible and strain with a Hawthorne. No big deal if you haven't already. I just I keep overfilling my drinks, and I like the idea of bringing this one up with crushed ice. So we're just going to pour into our chilled glass and then top with crushed ice. Oh yeah, this looks like a grapefruit, slushy. Grapefruit, gin, vanilla, lime. If you do have the PDF recipe guide with you that we provided, which I definitely think you should keep, it's a great resource our marketing team put together. It shows a really nice big fancy garnish. I didn't make that one, so I'm just gonna give this one a like a nice, expressed grapefruit peel, just because that peppery note is, again, such a gorgeous aromatic. So here we go. Same technique as earlier. For those who were here earlier, it's a repeat. For those new folks, you've probably seen this done 100 times, but just to go over, expressing a citrus peel over your cocktail is such a nice touch. It's easy. It's a great use, sustainable use of the fruit that you're already using to make your cocktail. You just take a peel, carefully peel off a swath like this, face the pigmented skin of the fruit towards the drink, and then just fold it kind of over itself, and just those pockets of oil just burst all over the ice and the surface of the drink, really enhancing the aromatics. Again, if you're a fan of gin, this is just such a nice, that hint of vanilla, the real red grapefruit cordial that kind of punches up the grapefruit and keeps it balanced with the sugar. Like, I think that really is a more luxurious feature rather than, fresh grapefruit juice. So, yeah, to me, again, these are just crushers. I mean, this one, if you're a fan of gin, I really think you'll like that and find it to be kind of nice and balanced. I'm a fan for sure. Thank you, sir. All right, that was the Saluki. What do we have going on over here? The Mai Tai riff from Kevin Crossman, the Chimp cocktail. Actually not familiar with that one. I'll have to look that one up, the Chimp. Aaron, a fan of the, very nice, yeah, a fan of the cocktail, love it, the Mai Tai riff. The chillest highball glass. Yeah, that highball, as you can imagine, we have a lot of glassware around here, and it's really nice when you have it. It's like it is a really nice kind of restaurant style touch. I would say investing in a couple of sets of good glassware is it's a really nice thing to do. Serving and enjoying cocktails in nice glassware is it's a treat. And I say treat yourself. So okay, moving on. We've got Caught in the Rain. This is the biggest, I think this is the biggest drink by ingredient count that we're doing this evening. This one, you can probably pick up on the punny. It's kind of a stretch of a pina colada riff, but not really. It's got its own character. But we liked kind of starting with that idea and just saying, okay, how can we make this maybe a little more interesting or workshop it out a little bit. So here we are. This is the Caught in the Rain. So we've got a gin here. I've called for gin in a couple. This is one where I really do like Plymouth's character in this one, or just something that is kind of a new American style that's not overly botanical, but it's kind of got just a really nice soft floral, not perfumey profile. I just really like Plymouth's kind of straight ahead character here. And then we're splitting that with a light rum. So I'm actually going to use that same Royal Standard. Actually, Victor, would you mind? Did you maybe put that one up?
Which one?
Did you put a rum up? The Royal, I think Royal Standard. Perfect. So I got my light rum. Thank you. So split base, light rum, gin. I've got a brewed green tea there. Super easy. I just brewed the green tea. I did like it a little stronger. I would say anytime you're brewing tea in cocktails or for use in cocktails, I would probably brew a little strong, and sometimes that means like doubling the infusion time. That's probably about what I did here. I wasn't entirely precise. Any really serious tea folks out there, please forgive me. But yeah, I just basically ran it to about 175, 180 degrees, and I just like doubled the time. I probably left it there for a good 15 minutes or so. So I have a nice brewed green tea that's gonna give us a little grassiness. And because you guys are the best and I thought you deserved it. I went ahead and juiced, like I said earlier, that fresh pineapple. But I don't expect anybody necessarily, unless you're really having a party or really into it. Definitely makes a huge difference, fresh pineapple. But the little canned Dole or like the middle aisle grocery store stuff will work just fine. So pineapple juice, and then we've got our lemons and limes here, and then toasted coconut. So yet again, the toasted coconut, just an all-star. So like I said, that's the most ingredients for any of the cocktails tonight. So let's get going. We'll start with our toasted coconut. We're going to do an ounce. Beautiful. So an ounce of toasted coconut syrup. Next up, I'm going to use, I'll put that up here, right? Next up, I'm going to go with my pineapple juice at ½ ounce. Fresh pineapple. Lovely. Now we'll do our citrus juices, ½ ounce each of lemon and lime. So, you might think a lot of syrup, but we're punching this up with, quite a bit of citrus juice too. So lemon and lime containing basically 0 sugar. The pineapple's got a little sugar in there, but it's also pretty balanced with acidity. So, we're trying to make sure we've got a good amount of acid to counterbalance all that sugar. So ½ ounce of fresh lime and ½ ounce of fresh lemon. So again, a full ounce of fresh citrus to complement the sugar. There we go. Next up, we're going to go with our brewed green tea, and we're going to do an ounce of green tea. There we go. And now our split base, we're going to do an ounce each. So again, a healthy amount of booze here as well. So we're going to do an ounce each of a light rum. And this is that same light rum blend I mentioned earlier. Just a blend of Trinidadian, Barbadian, and Jamaicans. I think the Barbadian is like lightly aged. But basically, this is a light Caribbean blend that I just find is very mixable. And then we'll do our Plymouth, and I described that earlier. And this is just going to give, I think it's going to match that tea very, very well for everybody. We found that this was just a really nice split base with the coconut and the green tea, and then all of the citrus. So you can see, the kind of light shades of a pina colada here, but hopefully a little bit more interesting floral, botanical. All right, we'll go ahead and shake this with conventional ice. And this one will actually, believe it or not, we won't serve this over crushed ice. We'll just serve this over conventional ice. So let's give this a good hard shake, just like a Mai Tai. We want to shake this like 10 to 12 seconds. All right, here we go. Chilled rocks glass. Let's clean up my mess here.
Someone's asking, why do you use half lemon and half lime? What do you see in the taste profile difference since both are citrus?
Great question. So somebody asked, why use lemon and lime? To split that up, what, do you see a kind of a difference in those profiles? And the answer is, for me, for sure. I always find that lemon's a little more floral, a little softer, probably honestly a little more aromatically potent, but definitely has that kind of clean lemon, distinctive thing. Lime always to me is a little more bracing. These are going to vary seasonally, regionally. I mean, these are common fruits, but they're also grown all over the world. So you're going to get variation. So what I'm saying is not a rule, but I tend to find that lime is a little more bracing, a little more like peppery, or sort of has almost a light kind of sharp spice to it if you search for it. I don't find lemon features that very much at all. So I think lemon and lime in tandem, if you have the wherewithal to blend them and do the work, actually balance each other really nicely. It's going to be subtle, but I do find that they have distinctive aromatic and flavor profiles that if you, again, and an ingredient list of 5 or 6 ingredients like this big boy here, I think it works very well to add a little bit of complexity to your citrus blend. Hope that answers the question. So, but here we go, a beautiful Caught in the Rain. This is a really nice cocktail in my opinion for again this kind of warm weather vibe, but with if you're seeking complexity, it just really is interesting and not aggressive. None of the flavors are aggressive, so it kind of really lets you explore it without, there's no offending flavor here to kind of jump out at you. I don't think people would have very strong feelings about, in the negative direction, but definitely gives you kind of something to chew on, if you will, with its profile. So that's kind of my take on this. Is it's just accessible enough, but also just interesting enough. Really inviting cocktail. There you go, fresh mint once again. And I believe on this one we did a lemon wheel, it looks like. So let's slice off a lemon wheel. Lemon and lime both, to the question from earlier, both beautiful and smell beautiful, but like I would say that lemon's aroma definitely more, more perfumey. So with a cocktail where you're trying to soften edges, or maybe trying to have this land a little softer on the palate, lemon's going to work well. Lime's going to provide, I think, a little more punch to the drink. So hopefully this one captures that nice balance for you guys. Smells incredible. Tastes, oh yeah. The subtleness of the green tea is there. It's when we first made this, I was like, is it there? Like, is it just filler? I don't want to just add filler. But at the end, I had the sensation. I was like, no, there's definitely this kind of green tea thing there that works really, really nicely. I hope you guys take that one on. Would love to hear what you think, but definitely hope you enjoy it. We liked workshopping that cocktail quite a bit.
For the previous cocktail, Eri asked, is there something I can use in lieu of vanilla liqueur? I have vanilla extract and vanilla vodka, but I'm open to suggestions.
That's a great question. Without having tested it myself, to guide. It sounds like we're here after hours, obviously. It sounds like the cleaners just arrived. So Victor's, sorry for the disruption. Victor just stepped away to chat with them. So back to the question. What was the question? Somebody. It was, vanilla liqueur, vanilla extract, and vodka. I think the answer would be that you need some sugar there. So one sort of bit of directional research you could do is to find something like a Cointreau, or like a kind of a really classic staple, not overly sweet, but also not bone dry liqueur, and find out like the sugar content in some measure. I mean, you will have to put on your science hat a little bit, whether that's by weight, somehow by volume, but try to figure out how much to sweeten a certain volume to reach kind of a sort of standard liqueur sweetness. And then I think you could add just a drop at a time, or a small measure at a time of that vanilla extract, because you're really just flavoring it with the vanilla essential flavors there. And I do think you could probably get there if you have the intrepid wherewithal to take it on, which I encourage. And if you do, feel free to shoot us an email. Let us know if you struck gold on a process, because if I agree, some of these ingredients, if they're too hard to find, I love when people take up the mantle of saying, I'm going to get this done anyway. So that's pretty cool. So let's see. Do you use tea in your whiskey highball? And if so, which tea? I haven't committed that way. I've played around with tea in various highballs, including whiskey highballs. But again, I honestly haven't dived deep. I know tea in cocktails has has had its own kind of incubating space where people who are very serious tea people and people who are very serious cocktail people are finding harmony. I have not myself gone down that rabbit hole. So, you know, we've kicked around various black teas, depending on the highballs or the base spirits we're using. You know, certainly an Earl Grey has worked, green tea, matcha we've played around with as well. I mean, these are obviously very different styles and treatments, but you know, I have not. I would say, you know, a black tea. We've definitely just used like a kind of a basic black tea in, whiskey highballs. But can't give you a very well fleshed out answer. I'm sorry on that one. But yeah. So this one, some of you may not be aware, but this one's one that we actually put out as part of our lead up to Christmas in July, where we were asking folks to contribute a name. This was a cocktail that Christina in the chat, so everybody give Christina a round of applause. But this is a cocktail she actually developed herself, which, you know, everybody here kind of takes that on as they feel comfortable with it, and it's really fun to watch everybody here kind of workshop cocktails. And this is one that we did, that Christina did, and we put it up for a name, and the winning name, as you can see, is the Ron and Don's Banana Hammocks, which is kind of a fun, irreverent Speedo joke, but also featuring a couple of different rums. Because of the name, you know, in this one we did call for Don Q, but look, you know, Don Q is a light Puerto Rican rum. Obviously there's a major player in that category that if you have it, you know, in Bacardi, obviously can substitute, but so could any number of light rums. So don't let it hold you back. It's just, for us, we're using Don Q because of because of how we chose the winning name. The real star of the show, aside from you know, just the build of the drink, is also this this red banana El Salvadoran rum. It's called Ron Colon, and it's a really cool product. It's just a kind of a beautifully balanced rum with a red banana oleo added, just as a flavoring agent. So it's kind of like just a banana infused El Salvadoran rum. Really nice. Christina used it, I think, to very nice effect in this cocktail. So let's get started with Christina's cocktail, the Ron and Don's Banana Hammocks. Ron and Don sound like a couple of fun guys. So, you know, just imagine a couple of old dudes strolling around in their banana hammocks on the beach, right, Victor? All right, so what else do we need for this one? We need our pineapple gum syrup, all of the benefits that we talked about with the classic gum syrup and the Demerara gum syrup with the mouthfeel and richness. Pineapple gum syrup is another classic ingredient that for many, many years has called for that, has kind of been niche, but behind great support by customers, et cetera. You know, it's growing as a thing. I really can't emphasize enough, gum arabic is a powerful tool. So pineapple gum syrup, more Allspice Dram. Let's see, I can grab it, don't worry. I got you. More Allspice Dram. I told you, if you go and invest in a bottle, we will hook you up and make sure you have plenty of ways to use it. So we're using it again here, along with some fresh lime and our Angostura bitters. Any aromatic bitters you have on hand are going to work, Ango being obviously the kind of canonical example. So we obviously have Ango here, but we have some other aromatic bitters that play around. You know, anytime bitters are involved, it's like seasoning. You know, you can do a lot of things, move it in a lot of directions. So we're going to start with half an ounce of pineapple gum syrup. Next, we will do a 1/4 ounce of Allspice Dram. As we've said, you know, throughout, for those who have stuck with us, others who have joined, this a little goes a long way. 1/4 ounce is going to do a great job in this with that banana. You can imagine allspice and banana, allspice and pineapple. I mean, these are really nice flavors together. Next up, we'll do our fresh lime. Fresh lime will be a 1 ounce. So often I could say, you know, an ounce is about what you could expect to get from a full lime. But, you know, that is a strong rule of thumb. Like, I'll put my foot in my mouth and there's no way this one will give me an ounce. So, I mean, But if you prefer not to measure and you are kind of shorthanding it throughout the year, again, depending on season and growth, that is not a bad heuristic. I'm getting pretty close. I'm maybe a sixth of an ounce short here. So for the purposes of this workshop, I'm going to go ahead and crack open another lime and finish the job. But half a lime, half an ounce, full lime, an ounce. That's a decent heuristic if you don't have a jigger handy. There we go. 1 ounce fresh lime juice. So far we've got pineapple, we've got allspice, we have lime. Very kind of tropical, very Caribbean, but not in a way it's going to beat you over the head. It's just like this classic blend of flavors. Great job, Christina. 3 to 4 dashes Ango before I start throwing the spirits in. Boom. 3 dashes for me. And then we're going to do an ounce of each of our rums. So we have Don and Ron here, our buddies with the Speedos. There we go, 1 ounce of Don Q Cristal, which is their light or white unaged rum. And then 1 ounce of the Red Banana Oleo Salvadoran rum. Super cool product. Frankly, not sure how available it is. You'd have to kind of do some searching. I don't know if anybody's asked that, but it's a cool product though, and if you can find it, or maybe on a Pichota or one of those kind of online marketplaces, and can have it delivered, it's a product worth bringing in and kind of trying and playing around with if you're making cocktails at home and interested. Oh, smells amazing. So we're gonna go ahead and, shake this one conventionally. So half or 2/3 full, or rather 2/3 or 3/4 full, and give it a good shake. That's cold. So we chose, or Christina chose, kind of a pearl diver style glass for this. But this is one where it's really, you could definitely serve this in a rocks glass. It's a fun cocktail. If you have fun glassware for this one, it's definitely a fun serve, but don't feel obligated. There's nothing special about that glass, but it's just fun. Rocks glass works perfectly well. I'm gonna strain this and then add crushed ice. Beautiful. Top this off with crushed ice. Again, that slushy effect. Somebody asked earlier, why crushed? And again, it just keeps it colder with the additional surface area, but at the same time, it melts a little bit faster with that. So you find a balance and equilibrium, but we are in fact adding a little bit of water to the cocktail. But in some of these big rum drinks with like big strong flavors, I find that that's sometimes helpful in the overall character of the drink. And so just another kind of note on crushed ice and why we go with that so often. It's just a little touch that can subtly enhance or impact the overall drink. So same goes, you notice the theme. Here we go with more fresh mint. And a lime wheel. And kudos to Christina on Ron and Don's banana hammocks. It's a beautiful drink, beautiful color. Smells great. Yeah, it's great. You get that banana and the rum, is there, but you know, these are light rums, and then the banana comes in. Like it's not traditional rum heavy, but it's definitely a rum drink. But it kind of lets everything dance. You know, the allspice, the banana, you know, definitely the pineapple, and that richness of the pineapple lends that, yeah, that really kind of oomph, that velvety richness. Very nice drink. All right. Josh says, who's our favorite bourbon-centric guest that we've ever had on the show, and why is it Josh Gall? I think it's probably a guy named Josh Gall, good friend of ours, knows his bourbon. Great question, Josh Gall. Really knows his bourbon. Amazing bourbon collection. Thanks for tuning in. Shelly, thank you. Again, thank you for the support. She complimented the materials that came, the downloadable materials that came with that. Marketing did a bang-up job. Thank you. Thank you guys. Okay, I'm down to the last drink, and we'll quit rambling. This last one will be a Blanco tequila and green chili vodka concoction that we really liked for its, you know, if you're a fan of the margarita or the Paloma, if you like those kind of bright flavors next to, excuse me, tequila character, I think you're really gonna like this. But you know, we also wanted to tease out a little bit more herbaceousness. So I mentioned earlier Green Chartreuse. Well, this is its milder cousin, Yellow Chartreuse. So a little honeyed, a little less assertive, but still equally, you know, herbaceous. It's just still got a very herbal flavor. Chartreuse does exceptionally well with pineapple. So we're gonna feature pineapple again for this one. And, oh, you're good. And along with some citrus, some green chili to kind of play up the vegetal and play with the herbaceousness of that Yellow Chartreuse, and then Blanco tequila with lemon. So really kick-ass drink, and that'll about wrap it up. I have no idea even what time it is, so I've just been sort of cruising. So here we go. This is the Yellow Tambourine. Again, fun cocktail featuring those kind of tequila and how well, it's kind of a workshop on how well tequila does with both herbal and tropical. You know, herbal and tropical with this Blanco tequila. Still refreshing, still something, again, kind of crushable. These are all meant to be really enjoyed on a porch somewhere hot, you know. So here we go. We're gonna start with our pineapple gum syrup. This is gonna beef it up a little bit to 3/4 of an ounce. You know, again, just to kind of lend some richness to the show with all these kind of herbal and bright flavors. 3/4 of an ounce of pineapple gum. Next, we'll move to our liqueur. We're going to do a full 1/2 ounce of Yellow Chartreuse. It's also expensive. I think it's somewhat more available than green. It's just kind of less sought after, but it is delicious. And I think if you're going to have one on your shelf, you should get both because they last a long a long time. You know, you kind of use it sparingly. So 1/2 ounce of our Yellow Chartreuse. Next up, we're going to go with some fresh lemon. We're going to do a 1/2 ounce of fresh lemon. Beautiful. And finally, our base spirit. So again, we're gonna split this one between a green chili vodka. This one is from St. George Distilling out in California. If you're not already familiar, they do exceptional work. They're like among the kind of OGs of the craft spirits world, have a full range of all kinds of stuff. And this green chili vodka is exceptional. So you're not getting beat over the head with spice, but it's exceptionally clean, kind of green chili. Not even sure what chilies they're using. It's probably a blend, but I mean, I get like some poblano, maybe a touch of serrano. I mean, it's a really, really nice product. So 1 ounce St. George green chili vodka, and then I'm using a Blanco tequila. This is El Tesoro. Again, I think just does well with the tropical, citrus, herbaceous, you know, kind of green chili direction. So just tying it all together with a nice Blanco tequila. Okay, we're gonna, lovely. We're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna whip shake this. So we went over that earlier, but what that means, I'm gonna throw in about a scoop, maybe a light scoop of crushed ice. And we're just gonna give this a quick whip shake for about 7 to 10 seconds, just enough to chill things quickly, offer some dilution, and kind of whip it up, aerate it really nicely. So, and then we'll add it directly to our Collins glass. So there we go.
Tim McGuire says, remember, Liber syrups make great Christmas gifts.
That's true. Thank you, Tim. They do make great Christmas gifts, and they are versatile. So mocktails, cocktails, mentioned earlier, I've been in the habit now of like reaching for my passion fruit syrup when I have vanilla ice cream. I have 2 young kids. I've turned them onto that too. And so it is a versatile thing, makes a great gift. Thank you, Tim, for the plug. Okay, whip shake. We're gonna give this a good 7, maybe max out 10 seconds. That's enough there. So you can kind of feel it. It's like shaking a can of spray paint. You feel the mixing and the agitation, but you don't want everything to just turn to slush or water. So we still have some water in there, or some ice rather. So there we have it. Nicely aerated. You can see from, it's a properly shaken drink, so it has that nice foam. And we'll just top with crushed ice.
GG Bean says, gotta say, none of these were off-putting. Usually, if I watch a class where they make 3 cocktails, I might like one. This is really great. Thanks. Cheers. Thank
you so much for the kind words. We put a lot of thought into these things, but it's really just about keeping it craft and quality, but not trying to beat people over the head with off-ball flavors. For us, it's about balance, accessibility, making sure everybody at least gets to try new things without, again, being kind of, led astray. So I really appreciate those kind words. This one I like a lot. On the nose, I'm getting lemon. I'm getting traces of like green chili, and then the pineapples there, all just on the nose. So like, it looks refreshing. It is crushable, but I think it's deceptively complex, but really balanced. Rich pineapple, fresh lemon, the green chili and the tequila finish it. So it kind of has, if you're a fan of the margarita, the Paloma, kind of has some of that just straightforward, like beautiful tequila character. It's a nice drink. I hope you guys give it a try and like it. So, where are we at? Are we almost like 2 hours?
Yeah, 6:50.
Marathon, guys. Thank you, everybody. It looks like we're still holding strong, between 45 and 50 people. Thank you very, very much. This is, again, a new thing that we're doing. Looking forward to doing it again. I hope that this was informative and valuable, brought some value to you who are watching. And thank you so much for the support that you show us, and for our the livelihood that you kind of help us stay alive. We believe a lot in what we're doing. So thank you. Let's see. Anything that we missed?
Carol Party asks, hard to answer, I'm sure, but what are your top 3 syrups?
Okay, great question, Carol. Depends on what's meant by top 3. I have probably some favorites, top 3 favorites, and then we have our top 3 sellers. So a little ambiguous, but I'll answer both. Our top 3 sellers, I believe, there is some shifting around sometimes, but Orgeat, Passionfruit, ginger, blood orange, our old-fashioned syrup does well. Like, those are all always among the top performers. And then as far as my favorites, I think our raspberry gum syrup is underrated. I think it's just exceptionally high quality. Easy way to get raspberry flavor, just very high quality raspberry flavor into a lot of different things. So I love that one. Orgeat is a showcase. I just think it's so unique and so powerful in what it can do for a number of cocktails, but I mean, certainly in that kind of tropical realm, but highly versatile. And I just think we have a great kind of Orgeat character. And then, I have a lot. I have a lot of the Marion Blackberry, the Yakima Peach are our newest. Love those. The ginger is such a showcase if you're a fan of ginger. Like, it's just so rich and bold and, you know, zesty. So a lot of them that I love, to be honest. Thank you, Colorado supports us. Thank you. Thank you, Rob. He dumped a perfectly good drink down the sink. That's okay. You know, there's always tomorrow. That's why the resource is there, is that hopefully people keep coming back. You know, you can always make another one. Thank you, Carol. Everything from the materials to the production was top notch. I credit the marketing team again for that. They are a top notch team, undoubtedly. Thank you for supporting. Raspberry bramble, exactly. You're speaking my language. There you go. Yep. I mean, even a clover club. I mean, it's just so floral, so rich. It does a lot of things, that raspberry. So, awesome. Well, thank you all. I'll probably bow out now. My team is stuck with me here into the evening. Really appreciate the support on this event. Excuse me. And really looking forward to doing more of them. I think this is a really fun thing we can continue to do. Hope you saw it as a success. And thank you. Digging the shirt. I appreciate it. Yeah, I tried to do something semi-tropical, so I appreciate the kind words. Rob, you know, loving the cocktails of the week. Thank you. Cheers, y'all. It is Christmas in July. I'll remind you. Last chance until probably the fall, you know, November or something, to stock up at a pretty nice discount. So take advantage. Tell all your friends. In the meantime, stay tuned. We're always coming up with, you know, new stuff to push out, and then new product development. I know those who are like kind of long time adopters of our syrups, and probably realize it's been a while since we put out a new product. But as I touched on earlier, we've had so much going on over the last 2 years that we're kind of finally surfacing to air, and have a lot of exciting things coming down the line. So please stay tuned. Please stay in touch. Thank you all. Very grateful for being able to do this with you all. So have a great night.